It's up to SoaR to continue and seal the deal. Game number 2 coming up to you very, very quick. SoaR looking for it.
Oh, but PandaCat with rotation. Desert's Fury on point.
Yo, PandaCat is on fire right now.
Purification forced by Homiefe. Homiefe trying to make it work, but Khaos definitely making it work. Hurriwind takes a spill. 4 kills in total for enemy. Here
Actually
comes
going to
enemy.
end.
They're going to skip the Phoenix. The surprise win from enemy. Luminosity had no idea. First pick this time around will go to enemy. They didn't like being number 2, and they're planning to be number 1 and stick it there. Enemy, do they ban something different?
The Kuang provided a lot of damage late game.
Yep.
Janus was good too for enemy, but the Kuang damage, the Zeus, they did a good job mitigating the Zeus because of just how effective Khaos was in terms of being able to use his unstable vortexes, using his ultimates to shut him down. It seemed like Hurriwind was a magnet for Khaos' ultimates.
Yeah, every single time Hurriwind just chased out, and for good reason. Kali will be the ban that enemy elects to go here.
Yet again with the Sobek ban as well, not allowing SoaR to set up that Sobek a Willish combo. They still could do the Geb a Willish if they chose. Jigz very comfortable on the Geb.
I like the SoaR ban to go ahead for the Zeus. Both of these are the 2 Zeus players, not just in North America, but in the SPL. I mean, these are the 2 guys that are going to bring out the Zeus and really bring out the pain as well. So Thor, again, enemy, they've pretty much taken the Andenster approach. If Thor's open, we're going to pick it number 1.
And Varizial plays Thor, I believe, more than any other god that he has so far this season. It was interesting to see how he'll synergize with his mid laner because the way he plays Thor is a little different than other junglers. He'll build it more tanky, trying to set up chaos. We saw it earlier in week 5 where he built the tanky Thor and enemy having chaos on Zeus, just doing a lot of damage. But now they're not going to have that Thor-Zeus combo.
We'll see what combo enemy elect to go. As SoaR, just back and forth, they're going to take Xbalanque away from PandaCat to disallow that one more time. Janus will be selected for enemy again. Like we said, I mean, even in the loss that they just had, if it ain't broke, don't fix it now. Xbalanque, I said, was PandaCat's god. And that's what he's really stuck to. Artemis, even more so. If you've watched Legion of Carrots last year, if you've watched the growth of PandaCat and what he's done throughout the years in Smite, this is really, I mean, Artemis is really the god that he's able to tear it up with.
Especially with the change to her boar, allowing her boar to ping pong between target to target faster is going to provide more damage, more CC. SoaR taking the Xbalanque ultimate away from enemy's arsenal, going to keep the jungle strategy that they had with the Kuang.
And I like that enemy does this. I mean, one of the things that I like about Paradigm specifically over in Europe is that they've identified what makes them win, and meta be damned, they go ahead and they pick what makes them win, whether it's the Cabrakan or the Chalk. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but that's what makes them win. Enemy goes from a Xbalanque to an Artemis. These aren't exactly top tier or number 1 picks that you see everybody elect to go, but it's what enemy elect to go. And I think identifying not just the meta, but how your team plays in the meta is the key to victory in the SPL.
And something I noticed that SoaR does is the first game they picked Khepri and Kuang together, but because of the Thor pick earlier on, recognizing that's going to go in the jungle, they don't have to worry about Kuang, so then they pick Xbalanque and Khepri, not worrying about Thanatos or Kuang, so that leaves their Kuang open. And now with this Ullr pick, like I mentioned earlier on towards the late stages of the first game, Hurriwind does play Ullr middle.
Yeah, that's a Hurriwind Ullr for absolute sure. Hurriwind is one of the better Ullrs in the world. I won't say the best. Ullr
He's
in
on
the
Eager.
world. Yes, I think there's a Zapman out there. But Ullr definitely in the mid lane for Hurriwind has been absolutely fantastic. Enemy, on the other hand, will round out their picks with Ravana for the solo and Guan for the support.
Marauder really likes to play these aggressive soul lane gods like Ravana, and the way he even plays Tyr, for example. Normally, Tyrs will wait for their moments, but not Marauder. He craves the action coming out of the soul lane. Baskin picking up the Hercules. I really like this.
Yeah, Baskin with the Hercules. He'll be able to be aggressive with the a lot of displacement. Why do you like it?
Because the way he plays it, when he transitions and rotates to team fights, he's just such a big factor. He picked up Wingblade early on in week number 5 on Hercules, and he always finds the right opportunity to push people. I believe it was actually this same exact matchup against enemy where he went Hercules, and he consistently plucked Khaos' Zeus, forcing earlier purification and Sanctuary as a result.
Will Baskin have enough to take to even this thing out and keep both teams at #1, or will enemy inch ahead and stay the #1 team in North America? Right now is when we get to find out. It's going to force Jigz under the tower. Doesn't get any stuns, but we don't need stuns. We've got damage. Hurriwind catches 2 in the current.
Andy coming back in, look for the thunder step. Immediately Eagles rally. Andy will not get the kill. Baskin survives, and now they're diving for Baskin potentially hit. But Blink from PainDeViande trying to force this enemy. This is a mistake because Homiefe
Double kill. PandaCat on this Artemis. One of the characters that honestly doesn't get a lot of love at the SPL. Worth noting though, if you saw on the picks and ban screen, that's a 100% win-loss record for Artemis, and that's all PandaCat.
Well, PandaCat going to try to extend that win-loss at 100%. They're going to need to if they want to remain #1 in the North American standings. And I believe Artemis is the best hunter to start off with throwing dagger. You have the passive, allowing yourself to build the stacks, giving yourself 5% crit per stack. And if you get those crits with the throwing dagger passive, you're going to be able to clear the wave very efficiently, very quickly.
And Artemis, really what she wants to do, it works out very well because Artemis is a character that you want to poke with your volley. You want to poke with your ability and clear the wave with your basics. And before the advent of throwing dagger, that was easier said than done. Now you can clear the front minions with that throwing dagger basics, and then the back minions and hope to hit the enemy hunter as well with the volley all in one shot. So expect PandaCat to be, saying expect PandaCat to be aggressive is probably one of the more basic statements you can say about SPL players, but expect PandaCat to be aggressive here.
And yet again, SoaR starting off the right side mid-Harpies in the soul lane, going back to blue. They really like this opening between Baskin and Homiefe, just taking that off the table because what they want to do in the mid lane is once Homiefe connects with Hurriwind, they're going to put a lot of pressure in the mid lane and they're going to want to fight.
Already fighting just a little bit. Hurriwind and Homiefe take a whole bunch of poke. Half HP for the assassin and about half HP for the hunter here in the mid lane. We'll go ahead and just call him the mid laner for now. And there's going to be a bunch of poke taken out. And left Harpies go to enemy.
So that's going to be even in terms of teams getting 1-for-1 mid-Harpy exchange. Meanwhile, SoaR getting the back Harpies while they're allowing enemy to take the mids. So a little bit of an advantage for SoaR after they clear this wave. They have to respect the poke potential from the Thor, though. They're leaning to play aggressive. I like this idea between Varizial and Khaos. They want to try to deny as much gold under the tower as possible early on, because if you delay this gold, that's going to prevent Ullr from finishing off his Transcendence as well, which is very important.
That's one of the first things that you're looking for as an Ullr, is to pick up that trans and really just move into that early mid and true mid game with just a huge burst. And that right there, that's what you're looking for. And that's the mark of an Ullr. Like I said, I really like watching Hurriwind play on this Ullr. Having that 3-1 combo come out instantly, that's going to hurt. Having that Hail of Arrows and the Bladed Arrow come out instantly is really the mark of an Ullr that you want to see.
And right now, Ullr is completely out of health potions, and obviously too early for him to have lifesteal, so he needs to be very cautious. If he gets stunned out by the Thor again, he needs to purify, but it's actually down.
Not it. Yeah. He used purification. 1 minute 11 seconds in, Khaos caught him with a portal on the bottom, and you know that's a long cooldown to be able to use that purification early on. And knowing that the purification is down, it's going to allow enemy to go ahead and make this invade on the left side because Hurriwind just isn't safe enough to contest with the stun and the portal CC coming out of these two characters.
And Khaos is already 100 gold ahead of Hurriwind.
And look at the difference here. Last time we complimented enemy on their decision to walk the safe way. This way, because of the poke that enemy had already dished out and the lack of purification available on Hurriwind, they decided to take the aggressive, more dangerous maneuver, knowing that they're going to have the upper hand should there be an engagement. And that's exactly what happened. The damage dealt out from enemy was more than they took in.
Their goal is to shut down Hurriwind in the earlier game. Thor is going to rotate over solo lane side, going to get the back Harpies, and maybe look for a gank potentially afterwards. He does have that global ultimate. Normally, you don't expect a Thor to gank your lane early on in the solo lane, so they could catch Baskin by surprise if he's not careful.
And that was the story of the duo lane in set number 1 against Envy. We saw Varizial pick up a quick kill in the mid lane, hit 5 off of backhands, and just immediately ult that left lane. And like you said, the element of surprise definitely was a big part of what allowed that kill to happen. Varizial now able to come over here with Khaos, and it's Homiefe to defend. Not going to happen as the stun comes out. There's a purification, and I love that. The hammer teleport, Mjolnir's attunement, actually came out before the water apparition. Understanding, just reading Homiefe.
That was a really good recognition from Homiefe, recognizing that Varizial's purification was down from earlier on. Wanting to find that execute early on was really important. Baskin does a good job early on backing, teleporting to the tier 2 tower, recognizing that the blue buff is about to respawn, also putting himself in a position where he can assist that 2v2 skirmish on the right side mid-Harpies. Baskin doing a good job rotating already.
That's actually really interesting. The teleport to the tier 2 tower was a choice that he opted to go for.
Yes, because when it's faster to get to the blue buff from the tier 2 tower teleport than tier 1, you have to like wrap around the board side wall. Instead, there's a clear path from the tier 2. You just wrap around the corner. And save yourself a little bit. It's min-maxing a little bit of distance.
But that's what the entire solo lane is about. I mean, these gods are going to be tanky. We talk all the time about how there's not going to be any action because everybody's so indestructible in the solo lane. So where do you find the win if you can't find the win by killing them like a hunter? You got to find these mid-maxes, clearing your camps a little bit faster, clearing the wave, and then just creating uncertainty with you hiding in the jungle, etc.
In the dual lane, we do have Artemis with boots too, clearing the wave, not electing to put pressure, doesn't have too much aggressive vision control, does have good traps though around the jungle, just in case a gank comes around the corner, maybe a trap could bail her out.
Varizial, or PandaCat rather, very, very confident on this god. He's played a lot of Artemis. Everybody's got their own flavor, and this certainly is PandaCat's. Varizial making the rotation to the left-hand side. Wants to find something in the dual lane, but SoaR absolutely nowhere near this lane. Metyankey very, very far away, underneath his tower, basically. So they'll just share the back boars. Varizial, Pain, and Panda.
Varizial looking like he wants to put pressure onto the dual lane. Level 8 Artemis versus level 7 Xbalanque. Jigz on Khepri is going to be able to bail out Metyankey if he gets in trouble. We'll see what Varizial likes to do. Not going to use his ultimate, just instead going to look for poke potentially. The boars are not up. The red buff is not up either. So he looks like he's going to disengage. Going to get caught by the ward.
Yeah, the ward right on top of the Gold Fury, and Jigz actually just saw Varizial in the jungle. Jigz took a left look towards into the enemy, and then saw Varizial. Different story for the mid lane, lands on both. Double stun coming out from Varizial. There's the ultimate from Khaos. Not going to be on the mark this time, but the unstable vortex will be. First blood for enemy off of a great gank from Varizial.
Double global pressure coming out of enemy. Did not connect Khaos, but it didn't matter. It gives him enough mobility to go through the portal and the movement speed, allowing to follow up off of the Thor dunk. The damage was so much, allowing Homiefe to just fall quickly.
And also, that element of surprise, Varizial uses the fact that Jigz saw him, uses the fact that the ward saw him, right? And Varizial goes all the way down and picks up some camp. And then, well, I mean, the jungler's by the Gold Fury. He's looking at the left-hand side. No, I'm not. I'm ganking the mid lane. Uses the enemy's vision against themselves. That is a very intelligent play coming out from the Thor jungle.
And because he went south a little bit there, he was out of the audio vision coming from SoaR. They didn't even know he was in the air. They didn't see him, and they didn't hear him. The response from Metyankey's ultimate was delayed. They clearly didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's such a huge play from Varizial. Again, just these are the small things that separate the great teams from the good teams. And here we're going to see a big old great team fight.
Not much going on, though.
SoaR's going to slink away. I really expected SoaR to go for that fight. In all honesty, I thought SoaR was going to get a little bit aggressive, but Marauder, the only one aggressive here, invading Baskin's backboard.
They definitely could have looked to play aggressive. The Thor ultimate was down, the Janus ultimate was down. You know, that you still have your Kuang ultimate for a potential execute, so they would have been in SoaR's favor to take that fight as Hurriwind does fall.
Khaos just on top one more time. There's the ultimate coming out from the Janus, again finding a home right in the forehead of Hurriwind's Ullr.
Player damage, we do have Marauder being a big bully in the solo lane at 3.3k damage at this almost 8-minute mark.
And that's no surprise. Like you said, Marauder likes to pick these gods that allow him to go ahead and fight, and that's his brand of solo lane. He just wants to bully you and fight you, whether it's 2 minutes or 20. He's coming for your face.
Yeah, and against Hercules, it's a little bit easier on before that heal comes online, so
Right.
this is where you want to be a bully. Once the Hercules finishes off Breastplate of Valor for the cooldowns as well, and his heal becomes a higher level, then it's almost worthless to try to even box out a Hercules. But what you want to do is this. You want to try to find the Fire Giants. Even if you share it with the mid laner, it doesn't matter. The fact that the Hercules doesn't get it is good enough because now he's not ahead of you.
You're just limiting that. You don't want that heal to come out. Narrowly avoiding the stun is going to be Khaos, getting him out of there. Bladed Arrow will find a home onto Varizial, but no damage to be noted there as the damage is dealt back with the Mjolnir's attunement.
Baskin making a rotation in the mid lane underneath, potentially hoping that his team will start the fight. He's going to wrap behind, forcing the Thor to hammer back into the safety of his tower.
And here comes Pain as well, noticing the rotation from the solo. Makes one himself from the long.
Both teams trying to find the right opportunity to ward and wait for somebody to come out of position. SoaR just going to retreat back to do their back harpies and boars. Meanwhile, enemies looking to play aggressive, waiting for somebody to come around this corner.
PainDeViande wanted to stop Metyankey. Metyankey going to go ahead and find some safety under his tower before he backs, and now he'll have to actually stay for an extra wave. So,
and as a player,
inevitable.
it's very annoying whenever somebody stops your back, but you have to do that because if you see them clearly backing right after they do boars, unless you're going to force Gold Fury, you want to let them back. Yeah. But if you're not going to do Gold Fury anyway, hold on, Thor is up in the sky.
Varizial again, out of sight, out of mind, lands right next to Hurriwind, can't find the stun, tries to block it out with the wall. But without the guaranteed stun, can't find the double tap. So Hurriwind is still 45% HP. But all the while, PandaCat's been doing crits on this Gold Fury, and it's going to be down to 25% already. There's the stun, the boar executed so that if anybody shows up, they get stunned as well. Metyankey's going to suffer it. Gold Fury goes the way of enemy, and there's the fight. Khaos one more time finds near lethal damage, waiting out, and the portal kill is so excellent. What a beautiful use of the abilities, understanding the timing it's going to take to find the kill. And Baskin, just too deep, gives the second part of the double kill to Khaos, again, starting off to a fantastic start.
Baskin rotating a little bit late there. He knew the cooldowns were down from enemy. A lot of ultimates were down. I like the way PandaCat used his ultimate because if anybody came within that vicinity, they would be instantly stunned by Tusky.
Gold Fury goes the way of enemy. They'll find themselves quickly 4,000 gold up, and 2K of that came from the last exchange. And again, I know we've been talking to him about a lot today, but there's good reason. Just that portal from Khaos. We saw a lot of these Jigz Khepri ultimates get somebody 12 football fields away, right? They've been so successful because you have to wait out the Khepri ult. You can't sit there and in the time frame that you're waiting it out, the player has gotten away most of the time. So Khaos drops the portal while the Khepri ult is still there because the damage is delayed. Just a beautiful attention to understanding the intricacies of his character.
There's a lot of windows in Smite in general, and that's one of them there. And solo lane, like we see here, the only time window that you really have is the teleport difference, you know, whether it's 180 seconds versus 90 seconds, then you have that 90-second window. With the Khepri ultimate, it's about a 5 to 6 second window. With your Janus portal, you have about a 1.5 to 2 second window where you're about to deal that damage. So the timing from Khaos, yet again, really beautiful. Also connecting with his ultimate for the kill onto Metyankey, who tried to find the kill onto PandaCat, was dissected by the Thor wall from Varizial.
Khaos going to give out some poke as well. And player damage, this time it's not Khaos. Again, Marauder just being the bully. 4,500, almost 4,600 on that Ravana, 12 minutes. Pretty much expected. And now enemy's going to push up the mid lane, looking for the mid tower, and SoaR are ready to give it to him.
12-minute mark, pushing the tier 1 tower, very ambitious. Varizial forced the purification away. Xbalanque ultimate used as well. Very low members from SoaR. They definitely don't want to chase off at this because also the Guan used to say nobody is even injured from enemy.
Yeah, and they're ready to go ahead and push up again. You know, I like the Xbalanque ultimate. That's really, I mean, all of the SoaR members under the tower had nothing to do with the departure of enemy. It was just the Xbalanque ult, and now they're able to get the tower without that available. Again, Guan used sustain a tier 2 tower at 1240. If the tier 1 was ambitious, I don't know what makes this one, but the team fight happening on the backside. Khaos gonna launch out the ultimate, and it's gonna find Hurriwind from 12 light years away. Khaos again on the money, the marksman of the mid lane, and Marauder very deep. Khaos finds the double. Khaos Khaos finds the triple. Khaos still pushing forward, and the tier 2 tower goes down in 13 minutes.
And they're not done yet. They want to get this Phoenix. The sustain from Guan, you tops everybody off. The damage from PandaCat onto the objectives is good. The damage from Khaos onto the players is even better.
Half HP on the Phoenix already. Varizial very deep. Going to get plucked out by Jigz, and that's enough to have Homiefe clean it up. But ladies and gentlemen, the Phoenix has been taken 13 minutes and 20 seconds. The fastest Phoenix we've seen to date in this season.
A long time. We haven't seen a Phoenix this quickly. Enemy extending their lead to 8.3k gold, but more importantly, 9,000 experience. Marauder's 2 levels ahead. Varizial's tied with Homiefe, but that's fine because everybody else is so far ahead. Khaos is 5 levels ahead. Pain a level ahead. PandaCat a level ahead. This is very important for enemy.
Say that again. What's the mid lane matchup? 5 levels?
5 levels. And when you're hitting as hard as a Janus is, through space and time across the map,
that's what it feels like. It feels like GG, Marauder. Wow. Very, very quickly. Enemy said, all right, SoaR, you bested us in game number 1. It was back and forth, but we want to be the number 1 team. You talk to these guys, and there's a lot of feeling of pride on this team because Pain has believed from day number 1 that this squad was going to not only DreamHack in Worlds, but this is going to be the number 1 team. If you asked him day 1 of the SPL, when everybody was saying nah, he was saying yes. And that's a big part of, I mean, not just him, but also the organization. They've got this chip on their shoulder, always being ignored. And so these are the type of games, these are the statement games that enemy not only enjoy, but they relish. They look up to these games. Pain caught out just a little bit.
When you're a veteran player like Pain, you have to have this confidence for your team because you're with a group of, lesser experienced players.
Rookies.
They haven't made their run in the SPL quite yet. We do have Marauder diving into the back line.
And Baskin going to show up from behind. Khaos finds safety through the portal. Love that play. There's the ultimate one more time. Finds 2 in 1 shot. The rest of the team still doing work. There's the second. There's the 4th. It's a quadra kill coming out for Khaos.
And now with that quadra kill, they're going to put pressure on the tier 2 tower. We're going to get the second Phoenix potentially at the 15.5 minute mark. First one went down at 13. 2 minutes later, another GG, more GG emotes. GG everywhere for enemy as they're going to push the second Phoenix down.
Fireworks abound. Surrender vote at 15:25. And that's going to be it. No second Phoenix, no problem. Enemy make the statement. Not only mathematically are they number 1, but if you take a look, it's hard to argue.
And whenever you can make an impact the way enemy did, the first game was pretty close, more or less, until the late game outquake came along. Second game, Khaos had none of it. PandaCat, none of it. Pain leading his team for another split consistently. So they split for week number 5 against SoaR, split again. But the way this second game was, enemies looking really strong to start off the second half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny the talent level of SoaR, which is what made this second game so exciting. In game number 1, like we said, SoaR really showed up, and it was a lot to do with the jungler. Homiefe had a lot to do, almost 14, 15, a lot of kills, double digits for this guy in the Dragon King. And to see this, he started off the game with a bang. Just, all right, you're going to pick up this Arachne play, no problem. You can go away. And he finds the first blood right onto the support.
Yeah, without having the cavalry charge available, no CC immunity, Homiefe taking advantage of it, landing down on top of Varizial as well. Not going to find the kill on Varizial, does find it onto PandaCat later on, however, after the pluck comes from Khepri.
Yeah, just so much damage coming out from Homiefe here, and Jigz is actually able to finish that up off of the assist of, well, everybody. Homiefe, on the other hand, here in the mid lane, he's going to do the work himself. Going ahead just forward, there's the ultimate out of Zeus, but really the story is just this Kuang, just able to chew through the opposition. He's going to find one pretty much right away, and then he'll follow up the second one after he dives on in.
And it's very easy to do that when you have Baskin diving into the backline, doing a lot of damage as well. These kills just look so easy, but the patience that Homiefe has is what you need to run an assassin in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it's down to. It's the patience, and look how calculated and how careful this one is. Just waiting for the perfect opportunity. As soon as the damage is done to the opposition, he's able to land down and just throw out the Dragon Call, and that winds up with the better half of the double kill, and that forces Fire Giant, or that forces enemy off of the Fire Giant. SoaR go ahead and snowballs, and there's a lot more game to be played, but SoaR dances toe-to-toe with the opponent.
And now in game number 2, we saw a different side of the story. We had a lot of action from Chaos that game specifically.
Yeah, I mean, Homiefe, again, he was a star of game number 1. Unfortunately for him in game number 2, this was the first blood. Just back into the middle of the lane, and Varizial, again, we pointed out the intelligence of Varizial, using the time and patience to find the way out, and this really was it for me. The story of the entire day. Chaos, the Roslyn Wrecking Ball, just bringing everything out. Here he's got the killing spree, just going insane, going all throughout, almost finds every single person on this team. There's the double kill, and here we have another bunch of kills. He gets a double kill there, okay?
And here comes the ultimate.
There's the one from all the way downtown. That's going to find one, and they go ahead and they continue on, and Chaos just becomes this unstoppable force.
You can tell how comfortable he is with playing this god. He knows the space for the unstable vortex. He knows the timing of the portal. He knows the distance of the ultimate as well. He's just so comfortable with this guy, getting a double hit right there.
And look at this. The double kill earlier on, the triple kill in the mid lane. There's the quadra kill. That's why SoaR hit the F6, so he wouldn't hit for the cycle and wind up with the pentakill. And just so you know, if y'all weren't paying attention, every single kill for enemy in that game had a Janus name on it. Every single one was brought to you by Chaos.
Brought to you by Chaos. It sounds like a cereal slogan.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of
Brought
this
to you by
world.
Chaos.
Chaos is certainly a part of our complete conversation, and that's who we're going to talk to today. Chaos, I mean, congratulations just doesn't do it any justice. How are you feeling after an individual performance like that?
Dude, Janus is lit. That's all I can say.
I mean, that's totally true, but I want a deeper answer. Your team is known for teamwork and all of this coming together, even from the way it's formed and then in gameplay. What's it like to say, yeah, my team's great and we're all part of a unit, but look at me, I'm the captain now?
I mean, like, the entire team is fantastic. Like, it was actually a dream that this team worked out together the way that it was, because I was friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And honestly, going into these games, like, everybody always keeps their head high. Everybody's, like, always really funny, really, really chill. So there's never a point where we feel down, even if, like, certain plays happen or certain misplays happen. Like, we're always thinking that we're ahead.
I mean, I can hear it in his voice that you're smiling right now. That's a big part of it, and you know, you guys have funneled that friendship into a positive winning experience. A lot of people looked at the half of your team that wound up on denial and the half of your team on enemy and made some certain maybe accusations. Do you think that from day one, how did you feel about the squad? Did you expect to be number one?
I didn't expect number one, but I thought we would be a lot stronger than most people thought. The thing is, I knew Varizial and Marauder for a very long time. I actually tried to get them on SPL teams for a while, and then once the drama started happening, I said, like, well, if I believe in them, then might as well make a team with them. And that's how enemy came to be.
So coming into this set, both you and Hurriwind are known Zeus players. Did you expect a Zeus ban earlier on and have that Janus on the back foot, or did you just go into the set trying to go for Janus early on?
I expected him to pick or ban Zeus. I knew I wasn't going to play Zeus this set. So well, I had a lot of gods in preparation, though, so Janus wasn't the only one.
Was Zhangque one of them?
No.
Good. Anyway, moving on as the season goes ahead, I think it's
13-5.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assumption that you guys will go to DreamHack, but there will be a number of obstacles along the way. Anybody that you're particularly preparing for, or anything that you're really scared is the wrong word, but heavy in it with anticipation for?
I think I'm most excited for the LG match coming up Thursday.
Why is that?
I mean, in general, just the whole team has always been like fantastic, so they're really fun to play against.
Excellent, excellent. Totally, you have any last questions for our buddy here?
Yeah. How is Pain doing?
Pain is amazing. He's by far the best shot caller.
So
like,
I mean,
a friend, everything. Like, he's just incredible.
Break that down for us a little bit. Give us an insight into the mind of enemy without revealing too much. I mean, you said Pain is the shot caller. What is that like, and how does that differ from other teams that you've been on?
I mean, have you ever played like an RTS game where
Yes.
you're like controlling a bunch of units? That's basically what's going on in his mind. Like, he knows everything that we're doing and everything that we're capable of. So he converts that into a call. Like, if it's just like pressuring for beads, he'll know to do that, or pressuring for poke, he'll know to do that. And he's always like clairvoyant of all those things going on.
Is there any question from anybody ever about his calls?
No, we 100% we always trust him.
That's
Even if it's bad, we always follow through. Like, it doesn't matter as long as you follow through. Like, chances are it's gonna work.
Teamwork. It's gotten you at number 1. Before we let you go, Khaos, again, I have to say, absolutely fantastic performance today. You wound up single-handedly helping your team find some of those wins along with the rest of the squad. Shout-outs or anything, comments, concerns you want to give before we let you go?
Well, definitely to Marauder for being initiate in our clan. The entire team, definitely, and all our fans. Everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank
you guys as casters. Woo!
Thank you very much. I mean, man, if we get more people on games like that, I am totally fine. Khaos on another level there. Again, congratulations for the mid laner from Enemy. They're going to DreamHack. Are you? You certainly can. www.dreamhack.se. You're going to take a look at some of the 9 of the better teams in the SPL and elsewhere for $250,000 they'll be fighting over. And Paladins will make an appearance as well. 100 grand in the bank. As I said, it's not said and done. Enemies still have to contend, but they're number 1 at the moment, and they will certainly be making a statement to head towards DreamHack. SoaR also certainly in a good spot as well. Luminosity has made a step up at the break. They were about 6-6. Now I've extended that to 10-6. Eager, Denial, Envy, Allegiance, and Randozos make up the standings beyond that. We'll take a look at Monday's games. This, of course, is Monday Night Smite. You're going to want to join us for Envy and Randozos and Paradigm versus Torpedo.
And yeah, I'm very excited to see the new roster. They had a lot of trouble against against Enemy in the earlier set today. Now they have to make sure that they don't drop any games against Randozos. You don't want to lose any games to the bottom seeded North American team. This is going to be a proving ground for Envy to make sure that they're still in it.
Right. For Envy to come off of that bye week with role swaps and some roles, specifically Kiki and Omega, that really are underexperienced in those roles, it's rough coming into the top team in North America, going up against Enemy. So as they head towards next week with Randozos, who, to be completely fair to the Dozos, did end the mid-split on a upturn. So the Clowns have been looking a little bit better.
They could potentially sneak 1 or 2 even against Envy. They did split against Luminosity, so Envy has to make sure they do their homework against Randozos. They don't take them lightly at all.
It's going to be rough. That, of course, is tomorrow. Make sure to tune in right here on twitch.tv/hi-rez TV. That's going to do it for the SPL desk. We do have SCL stuff coming on, and later on today, you'll catch me talking some Paladins. Join us and stick around. We'll see you in just a few for the SCL.